And then we will close our eyes and just find a comfortable seated position. Our hands can just hang out on our knees or on our thighs. We'll pull those shoulders back and down. Root our tails into our mats, into the ground, and then just grow nice and tall. Big, long back, relaxed shoulders. As we breathe in and out, just taking some time to check in with how we are feeling today. Kind of reset our brain and bring our focus inward. And then we'll inhale, lengthen in that spine, and then as we exhale, we'll walk our hands around to the right. Little easy twist here. And then slowly we'll walk around to the left. As we exhale, we twist. And inhale, we come back to the center. Exhale, around to the right again. We're just going to go nice and slow. Going from one side, inhale and lengthen. Exhale over to the other side. And one more time, lengthen in and around to the right. And back to the center and to the left for the last time. And back to the center. Inhale, let's lift those hands up high. And then exhale, we'll reach our left hand up and over, and we'll drop that right hand to the ground as we reach, opening up the left side of our body, stacking our shoulders so they're on the same plane. You can even look up to the sky if we like. Pressing our left hip down into our mat. Good, and then inhale, back up to the center, lifting high. We can wiggle those fingers, and then exhale, dropping the left hand and reaching up and over with the right. And inhaling up to the center, and then exhale, just a little forward fold. We don't have to reach very far. We're just bringing our chest down. We can drop our head, round in that spine. And then with our hands, we're just going to back our way up, rounding as we roll ourselves up to seated. All the way up, hands come up high. And then exhale, big circles with those arms, and we'll place the hands back behind us. Pull the shoulders back, lift the heart into a tiny, gentle back bend. Heart opener. Good. And then inhale, lifting high. We'll do that again. Exhale, fold forward as we round. And then walking our hands backwards, rolling ourselves up. Hands come up high. Exhale, big circles, placing the hands back behind us, pulling the shoulders back, lifting the heart. Even bring the head back, open up in the throat. Good. And now we'll just uncross our legs and we'll let those feet come out in front of us. Hands are still back behind us, pulling the shoulders back. We're just gonna hang out here. Feet are a little bit wider than our hips, and we're just gonna do some windshield wipers with our legs. So as we exhale, the knees go over to one side, and then inhale back up to the center, and exhale over to the other side. Good, inhaling up and exhaling down. Moving with our breath ever so easily. I feel how those hips are doing. If the knees don't go all the way down to the ground at first, that's totally fine. Find where you're at today and just move. Get those hips lubed up. Let's do one more to each side. Lengthen in those hips and over to the other side. And then back to the center. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our knees over to the left. And we're going to come into a bit of a 90-90 situation with our legs. So our left leg is out in front of us. Our right leg is at a 90-degree angle. And our foot is back by our butts. And then we'll just let those hips soften a little bit. Hands can come to the floor in front of us. And we'll just slowly fold forward. Breathe and let those hips relax as we creepy crawl our way forward. We can stay up on our hands, or if we would like, we can lower down to our elbows. If you would like, we can even creepy crawl those hands out further and lower that chest down over the thigh and shin. Good. One more inhale here. Lengthen in that spine. Exhale. Let's fold a little bit deeper. Good. And then gently walking our hands backwards, keeping that, we'll call this a situation with our legs. And now we're going to keep walking around to the left so that we're going to center our chest over the left thigh as opposed to the shin, and a little twist here. This right hip will want to come up, and that's totally fine. You'll feel a nice length in that right hip. We can stay on our hands as we lengthen on our inhales. We can continue to twist on the exhales if we would like. Again, creepy crawl down, maybe to our elbows and forearms, or all the way down to a full fold. Completely up to you, how your body is feeling today. And then we'll slowly walk our way up, unwind around And then we'll even just lift those knees up and face kind of forward again. Most people don't have this 360 mat like I do. So our feet are out in front of us. Hands come back behind us. We'll pull those chests back, press into our hands and our feet. We're just gonna lift our hips up off of the ground. It doesn't have to be all the way. If this is where we're at right now, because we're still early in our practice, that's where we're at. Just kind of test the waters, see how our shoulders are feeling. Get that butt engaged. Good. Exhale, we'll lower down. And then we're gonna swish our knees. I'm gonna swish our knees over to the right, and we'll do everything over on this side. So over the top of this right shin, flexing the right foot. Our left knee is bent and our foot is over here by our butt. And then our hands just find a spot in front of this right shin. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, just let those hips soften. Take some time. Many breaths as we just ease our way into the version of this pose that we are at today. We feel most comfortable, find the most benefit without pain. Let's do a couple more breaths here. Inhale, we'll lengthen in that spine. Exhale, and just sink a little tiny bit lower into our fold. And then the next inhale, we'll walk our way up. Keep our situation, and then we'll just slowly walk our hands around to the right, turning our shoulders to be even with this right thigh. And again, lengthen on the inhales, deepen the twist on the exhales, fold on the exhales as we relax, finding where we're at today in this situation. And a couple more breaths here. And then on our next inhale, We'll come back up onto our hands if we are not there already. Walk back around, all the way around, back to where our feet are out in front of us. We'll put those hands back behind us again, pull those shoulders back, press into our mats with our hands and our feet, and we'll begin to lift our hips into a reverse tabletop. And then slowly we'll lower those butts down all the way back by our hands. Legs are out in front of us, nice and long. Feet are flexed. And we'll even like walk our butts back just a little bit to encourage this tilt in our hips. Notice that my tummy is already starting to go toward my thighs. And then from here, we can walk our way down. We can inhale and reach. Find what works best for you, but we're trying to bring that chest towards our feet so that we can connect our tummies to the thighs. Keeping the backs nice and straight. If we have a strap, definitely use your strap. Or a towel works as well. We'll stay here for 3 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. Lower down just a little bit more with every exhale. Don't forget that millimeters is still progress. So if we're only just barely able to perceive us lowering down, that's still what we're working towards, is just that tiny bit of progress. Good. And now let's drop our chins, lower our arms, and we'll slowly roll our way up. Good. And we'll swing those feet back behind us, and we'll come up onto our tabletop. Just hands and knees, opening those fingers really wide. You can even stretch those babies while we're here. Our knees are underneath of our hips. Let those feet rest underneath on the floor there. And now finding a flat back, breathing all around into our torso. Pulling the shoulders back, pressing into our fingers, lengthening from our tail to the tip top of our head. Once we find that nice long spine, good balance, we're gonna lift up our right hand, reaching out in front of us with those right fingers, and then the left foot will press back behind. And exhaling back down to the mat. And then inhaling, left hand reaches forward, right foot presses back. And keeping some focus in this low back area. We don't want to collapse as we reach that foot back behind us. We're not trying to get as high as we can with that leg. Actually, just keeping this right hip down by its partner and making this long straight line from our fingertips all the way to our heel. And back down. Again, right hand, left foot. And back down. Left hand, right foot. And back down. And now we'll just bring our hips backwards, towards our heels in child's pose. Arms are out in front of us. Rounding all the way along our spine, letting those hips drop. Good, and now let's come back up to our tabletop. Find that flat spine again. Good, strong tummies. And then again, right hand, left foot. Keep that reach with the fingers, the press with the toes. And now let's reach back. We're gonna bend that knee. We're gonna reach back with our right hand, find the toes of the ankle, and open up the shoulder. Kick into your hand with your foot to open up. Good. And now we're going to release this left foot. Right hand will find the floor. And then the left foot is going to come all the way forward into a baby lunge. So we'll take that knee, bring it over the top of the ankle. Our hands are on the inside of the foot. And this right leg is soft behind us. Our chests are going to look in front of us, not down below. I also have this habit of just looking at my hands the whole time. But as soon as I begin to look forward, all of a sudden, the hip begins to open up a little bit. My shoulders move back. One more big breath here. Good, and now exhaling, we're gonna walk ourselves backwards to a half split. So our hips are gonna come over the top of that right knee. Our left toes will point up to the sky. Our hands can come to our thigh. If we have blocks or a dictionary or a very well-trained dog, we can use them as support. Hands can come to our shin. What we're looking for, just like all of our folds, is bringing that chest forward, keeping a flat back so that we hinge at the hips, which will get that hamstring. Hamstring is screaming. Good, and then inhale, let's come forward. And now with our breath, just rock back and forth. So exhale, we'll work our way back. Inhale, we'll come forward. Exhale, we'll go back. Inhale, we come forward. Exhale, we go back. Last time. Inhale, coming forward. Our hands will find the floor. Then we're going to walk our hands around to the right, but keeping that left knee and our hips and everything exactly where they are. Going to go a little bit over to the right. Whew. A little bit different conversation with our hips here. Good, and then back to the center. And we'll step that left leg back and we'll come all the way back to child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Good. And then inhale, we'll come back up to our tabletop. Find that flat back again, pressing into our fingers. Tuck the tail just a little bit, activate that whole core. When we're ready, then our left hand and our right foot will go back to really think about which side we were on there. Pressing and lengthening. Breathing deep into our bellies. And now when we're ready, we're going to reach back with that left hand, find our foot, and kick into that hand. Open up the shoulder and turn that right hip back down to stay even with the left. Do one more breath. We can always do one more breath. Good. Let's release that hand down to the mat, and we'll step all the way forward with our right foot and wiggle our way into our baby lunge on this side. Hands are inside of this right foot, our knees over our ankle, or maybe just a little bit ahead of it. And letting that left leg be soft behind us. Proud chest. Soft shoulders. One more inhale. We'll stay for that exhale. And then when we're ready, we'll walk our way back for our half split. Find where we're at. Get those hips nice and even. And we're hinging over that right thigh. Good. A couple more breaths here. Good. And then we'll slowly come forward. And then with our breath, we'll just rock back and forth. Exhale, we'll go back. Inhale, we'll come forward. On our own schedule, just moving back and forth. Let's do one more forward, one more backward, and then one more forward. When we're ready, we'll meet back in that little lunge. Hands are to the inside of that right foot. Long spine, keeping everything in our legs where they're at, and we're just going to slowly walk those hands around to the left. And back to the front. And we'll step back into our child's pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Arms can be out in front of us. Our elbows can be close, or they can be a little bit wider, whatever feels good on your shoulders. Same thing with our knees. Our knees can be close. They can be nice and wide. Good. And then let's slowly walk those hands backwards just a little bit. So we're sitting on our heels. We'll bring our knees together. Hands can stay on the floor. And what we're going to do is we're just going to stick out that right leg out to the side. Keep the hips low if we like. But we're going to try and keep that right foot pressing into the floor. Good. And now, keeping our right leg out, we're just going to lift our hips up over that left knee. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. And we're just going to kind of play with the tilt of our pelvis. See how it feels on the inside of that thigh. As we tilt one way, to maybe arch in the back. How does that feel? We tuck the tail. How does that feel? And then we'll find a neutral spine. Again, breathing into that belly. And we're going to keep that right hand on the floor and lift up the left. And then slowly we'll lower that hand back down to the floor. And then we'll walk our hands all the way around to this right foot into our baby lunge again. So if we need to rejigger on our mats, we totally can. Good. And now, again, our right hand is going to stay on the floor. We're going to kick ourselves in the butt, and we'll reach back for that left foot. If we need to come up to hold on to our thigh, we can totally do that. Or if we need a block, we can even do this up against the wall. It's actually kind of one of the best ways to do this stretch is we put this left foot back up against the wall. You just kind of back the truck up behind it or in front of it and let the wall help us out. Good. And releasing that foot. And we'll walk all the way back around to the center. Let that right leg come in and find our child's pose again. One big breath here. And then we'll walk our hands back just a little bit so we can stick that left leg out to the side. And we'll do all of that business to the other side. So sitting low first, pressing that left foot into the mat as best we can. If it sticks up a little bit, it sticks up. But if we're working toward that, remember, it's not always that final destination, but the journey that we make. Good. And then slowly we'll come up so that our hips are over the knee. Our left leg is still out nice and long. And just here, kind of play with the tilt of our hips as we arch and round. Now we're doing a little double duty, little cats and cows, as well as a side lunge. Good, and then we'll find that neutral spine. We'll keep the left hand on the floor, and then the right hand will come up to the sky, toward the sky. If we get out to the side, that's totally fine too. But we're just opening up a little bit. And slowly we'll lower that right hand back down. And we're gonna walk around toward that left leg and come into our baby lunge. Left foot is out front, right foot is back behind. And then when we're ready, left hand will stay on the floor. We'll kick ourselves in the butt and reach back for that right foot. Pull that baby into our bums, our quads. And then gently, we'll release that foot and we'll walk back around to the center, bringing that left leg in, and again, finding our child's pose. Good, and now let's inhale up to a baby plank. Shoulders are over our wrists. We lengthen and we'll just let those hips begin to lower, not droop, but lower with purpose. And then we'll bend our elbows and lower ourselves all the way down to our tummies. Good, and now from here, our arms will be out and to our sides like goal posts. You can even lower our head down onto our mats. Just let those hips relax into our mats. We'll just take a couple of breaths here. And then we'll lengthen those arms out in front of us just a little bit, and we're going to press into the mat with our left hand to lift up our chest, and then the right arm is going to thread underneath, palm up, and then slowly we lower the chest back down. And then again, begin to press into the floor with that left hand. Arm will come out and all the way out to the side. Press the shoulder, the right shoulder, into the mat, and then we can begin to roll backwards toward that right arm. And slowly we'll come back to the center, back to our goalpost arms. We'll take one big breath here, just relax into our mats. And then we'll extend our arms out just a little bit. We'll press into the floor with that right hand so that we can lift our chest and thread the needle through with the left. And then gently lower our chest down. Inhale, begin to press back into that right hand so we can free the left all the way out to the side. Lower the shoulder down into the mat, and then we'll roll backwards toward that left hand, opening up the shoulders. We can even kick back behind us with our leg if we would like to help ourselves out. If you don't like that, don't do it. And slowly we'll come back to our tummies. And now, as gracefully as we want, we're going to roll onto our back. So depending on where you want, we can just move that arm over and roll all the way onto our backs. If we want to make it more complicated, absolutely feel free. But we'll find ourselves on our back. Going to roll up into our ball. Hold those knees into our chest. Tuck the chin. We call this supine child's pose, or the little egg. Good. Inhale, let's lift those legs up to the sky, and we're just gonna hold right behind our thighs or our calves and just help the legs come in towards us ever so slightly. Little forward fold here. Good. And then releasing the pressure with our hands, our fingers will reach toward the sky. We'll begin to wiggle our fingers and our toes, move around in our wrists and our ankles for Krakalasana. And then exhale, lowering them down to our mats, making ourselves as long as we possibly can, reaching our hands above our head, really lengthening in those legs underneath of our hips. One last stretch, and then exhale, let everything relax. Close our eyes. We soften our jaw and relax our tongue, and we allow ourselves to find a position that we can just be still. We breathe in and out. And with every breath, we begin to feel a little heavier as we let go and allow the earth below us to support us. If you feel like you need a little bit more time in Shavasana, please feel free to stay as long as you like. If we are ready, we begin to deepen our breath and wiggle our fingers and our toes. So we slowly bring ourselves back into our space. We become aware of our bodies again. And we listen to what it is asking for. Give it that wiggle or stretch that it needs. And roll up into a ball, rock over onto our side. And gently help ourselves up to seated. Take a moment to check in with how we are feeling right now. And we bring our hands together at our hearts, lowering our chin and bow to ourselves, making sure that we give ourselves thanks for the gifts that we just gave ourselves. I appreciate you joining me today and allowing me to help you through your practice. I wish you all a very happy and healthy remainder of your day. I hope you have a fantastic week and that we all err on the side of kindness towards ourselves, to those around us, situation as it is. I think that that's what the world could use right now. And that is an easy thing for us to give. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether virtually or physically, we are one. Namaste.